Welcome to episode 3 of Louis Loves Minis mini miniature lesson, where we take a miniature part of your time to talk about a small step in how you can paint your first ever miniature. In the previous episode, we talked about how you could build your first ever miniature and how you could also prepare your space. This video module is completely optional, as we are going to talk about the reasons you may or may not want to use a pin vise before you start priming your miniature. So there are two main reasons why you would want to pin your miniature. And when we say pinning our miniature, we take a tiny drill bit like this and we drill a tiny hole into a miniature. Why would you want to drill a hole? And the first more obvious or more prevalent reason is because you want your miniature to look a little bit realistic, and this is for miniatures that have guns. And as you can see in this miniature, this guy is holding a bolter. It's got a barrel, and in that barrel you see it's flat over here, and we find that a little bit unrealistic. Fine, sure, this is sci-fi. We still want the miniature to look convincing. Now this is a Space Marine as well from the 40,000 universe, and you can see that barrel is not painted on. That's an actual small hole as compared to this flat nub over here. What you need to put or do is a little incision. I forget at the moment what they call this little incision that you make, but this will guide the drill into your piece and it not slide off. What you want to do is just barely get the center of where you want the drill to be or the hole to be, and just mark that. Its plastic is soft, so you don't have to put a lot of effort. You just need to put like a little mark. Then you get your drill bit. Now this drill bit has to be hobby size. They have tiny size drill bit. Basically, you want to get your drill bit and you want to get your barrel or your gun, and you just want to sort of eyeball how big you want your hole to be. So go ahead, disassemble your drill bit and put in the right size in, and tighten or fasten in that drill bit into your drill. What you want to do here is you want the drill to do the work. The drill is a sharp piece of metal, and you just have to turn it and it will carve out the plastic for you. If you're a bit scared of if you are going aligned, you can stop and check. I think this check shows a little bit of promise for us. For the gun barrel, you actually don't have to drill in all the way through. You just want to drill enough to have like a little bevel right there, a little indentation or a little depth. And you can go the extra mile if your guns have something on the side like this. You can even drill the side, and I believe they call this a muzzle, and that just pushes right through. And as you can see, you have a cool looking gun and you haven't even started painting yet. Now the second step, still optional, is less about aesthetics and more about functionability. And I plan to make this guy a gaming piece, meaning I will be handling him a lot, I'll be moving him around the table a lot, and I want his feet to be securely on the base. And normally glue is fine, super glue, liquid cement that we've tackled in the previous episode is fine, but just for the sake of demonstration, let's say you want to secure this guy even further. So like the first step, I will have a little guiding hole here, and I will just put a little mark where I feel the plastic is thickest, so that in case I go drill further, I won't accidentally drill through his feet and drill into his entire leg, which will lessen the chances of me ruining the miniature. I will be inserting this pin or a portion of this pin into the leg. You want to get your crappy pliers here, not your expensive hobby pliers or clippers, and just clip off a straight edge right there. In the same way that I drilled the gun barrel, I'll also drill his feet. What I want to do here now is I want to really drill a deep hole, because I want that piece of metal that I well, you can't see it, but this piece of metal to go through his leg and sort of act as an extra piece of connector. You can see now that I've drilled a hole into this guy's foot, and with that hole I got the little paper clip piece that I've picked in, and you see how much deep that goes in? And yes, it's a bit loose. I want it to be a bit loose because I want some glue to be able to fit in there. So I'll take my little piece of super glue and I'm gonna fasten that or connect that metal paper clip into that leg and let that dry. So this is basically a pinned piece or a pinned model. And now, instead of just the flat area of that leg being the sole connector to the base, we will drill a hole here, and that you also have a little metal peg that will go along as a way to fasten the base, as well as a secondary added security to really firm up that connection. Another way you could see pinning two pieces is when you have two metal pieces that are quite heavy. For example, this backpack piece is a bit heavy, and then this flagpole is a bit heavy as well. And when you glue the piece, it doesn't stay long enough upright to dry and it keeps falling. Pinning these two pieces together will hold that connection until glue dries and making them solid and firm. Pinning holds two pieces together long enough so that glue can dry in the correct position. In this case, we are using pinning to secure a model to a game piece. And what I like to do is I like to get some paint. I like to sort of mark the tip of our metal piece. Decide basically how I will place the miniature, and that will mark where I will drill. So let's say I want him here, and now I have a little white dot and I know where to drill my hole, and that will serve as my slot to secure that foothold. So now the glue is dry, and when I'm done painting both the base and miniature, I can slide it in snug and put some glue at the bottom and even on the other foot, and there will be a bit more added surface for the glue to stick on, not just both for the feet but also the metal little paper clip as well. But for now, since we're working on sub-assemblies, I have with me two pieces of cork, and since this is a sharp piece of metal, let me just poke that in, and I have a little holder, so to speak, so I can hold my miniature and prime him. And that will be the next episode of Louis Loves Minis, or mini lesson. Man, this position is really painful. So I'll see you in the next episode where we talk about how to prime this miniature. Thanks for watching, and as always, hobby every day to keep the sprues out.